As I talk through this lesson, think about how I'm using the opening routine and formative task to inform and funnel into my guided instruction, how I'm planning to involve students during the connect and explain of my guided instruction, and how I'm planning to ensure students have an opportunity to apply and practice during guided instruction. This lesson is a fourth grade lesson. You can see the learning target on the screen. This is the first day that students are adding in fourth grade. Now, in fourth grade, the expectation is that students are learning the standard algorithm for the first time, but this lesson is backtracking just for one day to revisit some of the strategies from second and third grade, like partial sums. So I might start off with this opening routine. I would ask students, how are these two the same and how are they different? I would give them about 15 seconds to pause and think, and then I would ask them to turn and talk to their neighbor. Share what you said. How are they the same and how are they different? I would circulate, listening to what they're saying, and then I would call them all back together and have maybe 5 or so students share out. How are they the same? How are they different? And while they share, I'm documenting what they say on the screen, making their thinking visible. Then I might say, you brought up lots of great points about these two different addition problems. I heard a lot of you talking about place value and breaking numbers apart by place value. Let's keep thinking about different strategies for addition and place value as we move forward in the lesson. So the next thing we're going to do is solve this problem together. I wouldn't call it a formative task when I'm talking to my students, but for all of you, here's my formative task. We would read it together, maybe twice. And as I'm launching this, I would want to think about what are potential barriers. This is a pretty straightforward problem, but I would want to make sure that, what is happening in this problem? What is it asking you to solve? Asking students those questions, making sure they have access to manipulatives and other tools that they might need, making sure they realize that they really need to show or explain their thinking. Then I would set them to work and I would monitor, I would circulate and figure out whose work I want to highlight during our debrief. So let's imagine it's time for our debrief and I chose these 3 samples of work. I wouldn't show them all at once. I might start with this one. I like it because it's a little more concrete. I would ask students questions like, what do these 5 different squares represent? Or why do you think these ones are circled? What did this student do? Making sense of the work. We'll switch to the next sample. How is this similar to the last one? How is it different? What do these 150, 10, and 8 represent? Where's the answer to this question? How did the student solve it? Again, unpacking the work. We move to the last one. Same thing. What did this student do? What do you think they did next? Where do these numbers come from? How is this similar to the last strategy? Where did they get 521? Making sense of their work. And I would say something like, all right, you all did a great job exploring these different strategies for addition. We're going to keep thinking about strategies for addition and using place value as we keep going in the lesson. Now it's finally time for my guided instruction. I'm 30 minutes into class, and I'm going to have students solve this problem with me. I might say to them, you all just showed me different strategies for addition. We're going to do another one together that we call partial sums. And in this strategy, we really think about place value. So if I were going to think about place value, what place values do you see? And I would ask students questions, and someone might say, I see the ones. All right, what would happen if we add those ones? We get 12. All right, we added our ones. What other place values do you see? 60 and 40. Again, making sure we push place value. It's not a 6 and a 4. What do you mean 60? What do you mean 40? Oh, I see those numbers. We add them together and we get 100. We've added our 10s, we've added our 1s. What other place values are left? What other numbers do we still need to combine? Pulling questions from students, pulling information from them. Well, we have all these different numbers. What do I need to do if I want to find my total sum? And we get our answer. I would ask students, turn and talk to your neighbor. How did place value help us to solve this problem? We work together to construct this knowledge. We just solved this addition problem using a strategy called partial sums. Let's do one more together. But this one's kind of fun. I actually started to do it myself, but now I want you to help me finish it. I filled this one in. how did I get that one? Where did my 110 come from? And then I might say, all right, well, what else can we do? How can we finish solving this problem using place value? Students might say, add the 9 and the 3. All right, what else? What have we added so far? Why did we add it? Asking questions, pulling information, together we solve this problem. That's my connect and explain. I would have students apply and practice by then setting them free to work on another problem, maybe with a partner. And while they work on it, I would circulate to ask them questions to see how they're doing, to see if we need to do another example together. And if we do, I have one ready in my back pocket. In fact, this one has bigger numbers because in 4th grade, we do have to work with bigger numbers. So we started a little simpler, they applied and practiced it, and we're gonna connect and explain another example. Again, I would have them do most of the thinking and talking as we work through it together. We're finished up with guided instruction. We've connected and explained and applied and practiced. Now it's time for you all to go practice these kinds of problems in inclusive student activities. I'm going to pull you to help work with me in a small group. I'm going to have some of you on the computer. I'm going to have some of you playing some fluency games and doing some practice worksheets. It's time to do that differentiated practice to meet their needs so that by the end of